back to my channel. Today I have a monthly February message for all of the Scorpios out in the collective. I want to let you guys know that this is going to be a general reading, so it is not going to resonate with every single Scorpio out in the collective. So I ask that you take with you what resonates and leave the rest behind. If you are new to my channel, welcome to Eileen Into Spirit. My name is Eileen Rouse. I am a psychic intuitive, a spiritual coach, and a certified sound healing practitioner. Without further ado, Scorpio, let's go ahead and dive right into your monthly message. All right, so we are going to go ahead and dive right in. So, Scorpio, we are starting out with yin. So this is going to be beautiful, magnificent, feminine energy this month. Next, we have Goddess Elen with patterns. Okay, very interesting. And create space. Okay. All right, Scorpio. So here's kind of what I'm seeing for you here. I feel that this month you're meant to really look at patterns in your life that are holding you back from receiving, okay? And I feel that whenever you discover these patterns, this is where you're going to need to be a little bit more creative in the aspect that you're needing to create time for yourself. You're needing to create and designate a space where you can actually give love to yourself. You can nurture yourself. You can be your own divine feminine for yourself. I want you to really focus in here, Scorpio, on your relationships. What kind of relationships are out of balance in your life? If you're the type of person here, Scorpio, who feels that you can't really trust any individuals, there aren't really any individuals in your life that you find create a sense of love and a sense of nurturing and support, then this is what you're needing to actually cultivate for yourself. Feminine energy is all about receiving. It's being open to receiving love, support, and nurturing. But I want to point out here that if you have a pattern where you're not open to receiving that love and that support because of previous experiences, then you ultimately are going to completely shut down. Okay. So here's what I'm seeing. I am seeing the 2, the 12, and the 11. Okay. There's only one way that I can say this. The 2 is about duality and it's about partnerships. Okay. The 12 is a 3, which is about creation. And it's about the balancing of the mind, the body, and the spirit. The 11 is really about, when you look at it, it's really about that higher aspect of devotion, right? The 11 can also reduce to a 2. So I feel that ultimately this month, especially since February is the month of love, I really want you here, Scorpio, to really focus on what area in your life do you need to create space for, right? If it's for relationships, because for some reason here, Scorpio, this just keeps telling me it's about relationships in your life. This is where you're needing to create space and you're needing to put in the effort, the energy, and really sort of create positive aspects, positive patterns that are nurturing and that are supportive to you in this particular type of relationship. So let's go ahead and dive right into the tarot. I want to, okay. Well, we're starting off with the Ace of Swords here. And this is about coming to an understanding, the truth, having that clarity. The thing about the sword is that the sword aligns with the sword from justice, which is our sword of truth. Understanding that the sword is double-edged, right? So you have an aspect where it is the truth, and then you have the other aspect that is not your truth, right? So it's what we would consider the duality of good and bad, right? But understand here that which you constantly think about, right? Because swords represents what we're constantly thinking about, our truth and our understanding. you know, with the yin energy, it's love and nurturing of oneself, and it's about being open to receiving that love and that nurturing, right? I feel that if you aren't being completely and utterly truthful with yourself on how you're, when it comes to that, then this is what's going to make it difficult, right? So this is where the patterns comes into play. You're needing to recognize the patterns. What are the patterns, right? Are you acting a certain way? Is there some particular way where you are reacting instead of responding when it comes to relationships in your life? Next, we have the Three of Pentacles. Okay, this is about community. It's about working together towards a common goal. And I feel that if the pattern that you constantly have here when it comes to relationships, and I feel that this might actually be feminine relationships, because Scorpio, you could be a very masculine energy here, and maybe you're used to taking charge. Maybe you're used to constantly making choices or decisions. And you're really needing to sort of bring in that feminine energy where you're being open to other people making the choices or making the decision, or having the relationship play out in a certain specific way. But understanding that when those relationships come into your life here, they come into your life because they are still teaching you something, right? You're still working together towards a common goal, right? And even though that relationship might not be ideal for you, and it might not be the type of relationship that you're ultimately wanting here, Scorpio, but you collaborate with one another in an aspect of growth, in an aspect of expansion. You both learn from one another. Okay, so I think it's important that you really recognize, how do you communicate with yourself and how do you communicate with others? Put yourself in other people's shoes here and really listen to what's really transpiring, right? Because I feel like a lot of times we might tend to jump the gun a little bit, but we're not really sure, right? Ace of Wands here is about the passion and the desire. I feel that you have this desire to overcome what is transpiring when it comes to these relationships, and you want to sort of move on, and you want to sort of take charge of that because you're wanting to bring in better relationships that feels like a sense of community, where you feel supported, where you feel loved, where you feel nurtured. And I feel that the only way that you're going to be able to really get this here is by recognizing the patterns. What are the patterns that you keep experiencing over and over and over? And what do you actually need to give to yourself in order to create space for healing that aspect? Okay. Next, we have the Eight of Pentacles here. Okay. So this is about really doing the work, right? Doing the work of creating the space, being consistent, right? Being so passionate about what it is that you're desiring in these relationships, and putting, as you create that space, you know, you put in the effort, that you continue to love on it, to nurture it, because that's what's going to build your future. The more work that you put into something, the more it fulfills your future aspect of what you're wanting to bring in here. Okay. Next we have, okay, the Eight of Wands in reversed. Okay, so I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm seeing 2 1s, right? And I'm seeing double 8s. So this is going to be very important. Okay, so 8s truly represent our sense of prosperity, how we manifest, and how abundant we actually feel. Okay. Well, the Eight of Wands represents communication. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say to you, Scorpio. I feel that you're needing to recognize the patterns when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to how you bring in relationships, how you bring in finances, how you communicate with other individuals, right? What are the patterns? What patterns have you recognized that need to be healed, that need to be loved, that need to be nurtured? Because with this Four of Swords here, it's really wanting you to sort of take a step back and to reflect, right? A true Four of Swords in the traditional tarot shows like as if someone is laying down and that person is facing towards this stained glass, right? Where someone is receiving something, okay? And I want to point out here that what this is really saying is that you ultimately have this desire to change the circumstances as they are, right? And what Spirit wants you to know is that you can have those things, but you ultimately have to create the space for that. And how you create the space is by focusing in on the patterns. When you identify those patterns, what needs to transpire, right? What actions do you need to take in order to put more love, more support, more nurturing into that so that you could work on that and then communicate that to yourself and to your guides, to your team, to let your team assist you in making those changes. So let's get some additional insight here. So far, I think this is beautiful here, Scorpio. And I'm loving this because I feel that ultimately what this is saying is that you're needing to put in the work here. Now we have the Seven of Voices, which is the Seven of Swords. Okay, I feel a lot of times when it comes to our own inner truth, we can really deceive ourselves a lot. We can be very sly. We can be very deceitful. And we can say, oh, it's not that bad. I don't really have to, I'm not the one to blame. It's XYZ, right? I feel that you're really needing to see things for what they are and recognize where you're needing the help, okay? And I feel that this is what you're needing to address. This is how those patterns come into play, right? When you downplay the way that you react or the way that you respond in certain situations, this is what you're needing to be aware of. You're needing to bring that to your attention and recognize that, your truest intention by not seeing the truth for what it is, again, with this Ace of Swords, is truly what is keeping you in this state, right? Now we have the Hierophant with the Three of Pentacles. Okay, so this is about higher learning, right? Understanding that traditionally how you handled certain relationships or how certain relationships were taught to you when you were growing up. Understanding that they don't always have to stay that way, right? You don't always have to carry those traditions or those beliefs with you. You can change. You can be the bigger person and recognize that this is something that I don't feel 100% in alignment with, and I want to change this aspect. I feel this is really about you going deep within yourself and sort of growing. You're growing in an aspect of true depth and understanding when it comes to relationships. Okay, next we have the Two of Cups. Again, partnerships, right? I like I said earlier, I do feel that this is really about relationships in your life, and you're wanting that partnership. You're wanting to be able to move with the flow of life with other individuals that have the same type of love and joy and experiences that you do, and you want to share that with other individuals. You want to collaborate. You want to communicate with other individuals. But recognizing that there will always be ups and downs, right? That's the patterns. What are the patterns that you're needing to sort of address so that you can work on those, whether it's you or it's someone else, whatever it is, you're needing to work on those. Okay, Queen of Voices, the Queen of Swords. You're needing to utilize your intellect here. I feel that the Queen of Swords is that person that, don't use your emotions as a way to decipher what your actions should be, right? The Queen of Swords cuts out all of the BS. And a Queen of Swords uses her intellect and recognizes that certain things have to be done in order for her to achieve her success, right? I find this is about you rising above the confusion and the doubt that you might be facing when it comes to relationships in your life. Ultimately, it's about you standing in your power and asserting yourself. This is about asserting yourself here. Okay. Last but not least, we have the Page of Pentacles with the Empress. Okay. All right. Scorpio, here is ultimately what I'm seeing, okay? The Page of Pentacles is someone that ultimately is very grounded, but allows themselves to sort of dream. Okay. With the Empress and the Six of Inspiration, which is the Six of Wands, you can have the relationships that you want here, Scorpio, okay? They're telling me you can have these relationships. You can have this perfect duality. You can have this perfect sense of love and support. But this is about you creating and holding that vision for yourself. And when you hold that vision for yourself, you're creating space to allow something to be born, to be created, to flourish. And this is really about you being consistent, being so consistent. You have to be practical about what is currently going on, how you currently feel about it, how you currently think about it, and then put forth the action that's needed to sort of change it to what you are desiring. Does that make sense? Like, I feel that you're sort of leveling up. You're coming to a higher understanding of what relationships really are and their purpose, their intention, right? And and you might feel here, Scorpio, that you're alone. But when you are going through an awakening, when you are leveling up when it comes to relationships, you're going to feel alone. And that's because you're not conforming to what tradition technically states, right? This is about you aligning with your truth, recognizing the patterns, and creating space for yourself to be the support, to be the love and the nurturing that one needs in order to grow and to expand. I also feel that this is about you leading by example. You might have individuals that are witnessing your transformation or your ascension or your growth, and you're needing to showcase how it's done, right? I want you to know here that you can ultimately have all of the relationships that you want, right? And I feel that once you recognize that you're just as much a part of the solution as you are the problem when it comes to relationships, I feel that you will start recognizing, once you recognize those patterns here, Scorpio, and you start making the necessary changes, you're going to start seeing relationships very different. Relationships are going to start coming into your life, and they're going to be very different than what you were used to. And that's because you're creating this new wave of relationships that's coming into your life. So Scorpio, this is your message this month. I want to thank you so much for being with me here today, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you next time with your new message. Bye, guys.